coming off. I can't see them, but I think they're coming off. Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to my channel. We are going to jump right into 2020 with doing our first Hail to the King review of the year. And you know which book it is because you've been keeping track, obviously, of the books I've been reading. And because you are smart, you know that we finished Night Shift. Night Shift is Stephen King's first short story collection that he published, and most consider it to be the absolute best of all of his short story collections. I don't agree. Although I think Night Shift is an amazing collection of shorts from the master himself, and I think that it is a great reference piece to any publishing horror author today of how to arrange and choose for your own short story collection. I don't think it's his best. I didn't think it was his best the first time I read it. I don't think it's his best now. I still think everything's eventual is. And that's what we're going to stick to. But that's not to say that Night Shift is not an amazing collection of short stories. There's a ton within this book that are just classics. Like right off the bat, Children of the Corn is in this. Children of the Corn was the entire reason I ever wanted to read this particular book. So, let us first start with, I have read Night Shift before. I read it. Not last year, year before. So, 2018. I read Night Shift for the first time. And my thoughts on Night Shift haven't really changed from that. I still think that the beginning of the book is the weakest part of the book. Although I'm a fan of Salem's Lot, the first story in here, Jerusalem's Lot, I think it's kind of boring. It was really a crappy way to start the collection for me. I think it would have served better somewhere in the middle, maybe. Or not at all. Because there are so many stories that are in this that are amazing, that the ones that aren't really all of that to me, just drag it down a little. I think I gave the collection 4 stars the first time I read it. I'm probably going to stick with 4 stars again, because the stories that are in here make up for any that I don't like. But it's not my favorite collection of his, even though it's probably my second favorite. I'd say that probably my favorite stories in here came sort of like back to back, it seemed, and I was really in love with the Mangler and the Boogeyman. Those, it's Mangler and then the Boogeyman, in that order. And then, I love the Children of the Corn story. Yeah, what was the other one? I need to just leave the contents open. I think the ending of the book had probably the strongest stories, or close to the ending. It probably more like between the middle and the end. Because, like, in succession, it was The Ledge, Lawnmower Man, Quitters Inc., and I Know What You Need, and Children of the Corn. And those, each one of those stories were some of my favorites. Not only were they very unique, but at times they were funny, at times they were creepy, and I enjoyed them a lot. There's a cat in my roof. It's a Tony. Hi, Tony! Jerusalem's Lot trucks, even though I am a massive fan of Maximum Overdrive. I think that it is hilarious, and I know that I've heard King hates it, as he tends to hate anything he's directed. But I love Maximum Overdrive. I love cheesy, horrible horror movies, so. But I did not like the short story. I think those are probably the only two that I just did not like and really tried my best to hurry up through. Because the other ones in the story are just chill. Like, they're not bad. They're not completely blown my mind amazing, other than the ones that I did mention. But they're not bad. None of the story collection is bad. It's just, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. It's a short story collection. Any short story collection you get is both a plus for someone who has never read the writer before and a negative for the writer. Because a short story collection gives you the chance to compile a bunch of your different strengths and weaknesses into one book. And it gives the reader a chance to explore these things, which means oftentimes collections get reviewed the lowest out of all your books. Because you're not going to create a collection in which every single story appeals to everyone. Like, if I have never read a writer before and I see that they have a short story collection, it's probably the book I'm going to buy because it gives me a chance to see all the different ways that they can write. As to where a novel tends to show me how well they are at expanding and what their style is. Short stories, they're quick and easy and you can get through them and you can change tones. You can have really scary, you can have really bloody, you can have funny, dark. You can go to a million different places because you're not sticking with a tone throughout 200-300 pages or more. So short stories are great for the reader, not always great for the writer, because when you put that much diversity into something, you're bound to write something that the reader doesn't like or isn't a big a fan of, or you'll put a bunch of things that they're not a big fan of and like one or two that they're a fan of. You just gotta roll the dice. And I feel like Night Shift is this for me, because although I do like a majority of the stories, most of them are just sort of for me. Two of them are for me, and then there's a handful that are just blow my mind with envy that I didn't write it. Kind of amazing. When I wear my hair parted down the middle, I expect to feel like Morticia Addams. But I always feel like a poor Victorian girl that should pull her hair back to pretend to be a man instead. I also sort of feel like a hippie, and I'm not mad at that. I mean, it's not my personal style, but I'm not mad at it. So I guess that's all I've got for you guys today. I don't think this was as in-depth as maybe a few of my other King reviews, but I don't know how in-depth I could actually get, and truth is, I have a pizza that's waiting for me in the kitchen, and I'm hungry, so we're cutting this video short so that I might eat, because food is priority in my life. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Make sure that you like this video. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. All of my links and social media and books and everything else is in the description box down below, including also just throwing this in here. My short story, titled Sarah Smiles, never been released before, was just released this past week with a bunch of other of my fellow ladies in horror in a collection called Under Her Black Wings. It's from Candisha Press. I am horrible with words that have never been said to me before. But it just came out last week. I'd really love if you went and bought the copy and read all of these wonderful women in horror, especially since in only a few days, or about a week maybe, Women in Horror Month is here. So why not start it off right by getting this collection and reading all of my fellow ladies in horror along with my story. Just know that the description box down below holds that link as well. So make sure you check it out. And guess that's it. Kisses, my darlings. Did I shave under my arms today? I think I did.